Hi, my name is Allison, and I'm a personal style coach with my own company called Daily Outfit. I love to wrap up the season with a vlog post just to kind of talk about what's been top of mind for me and my clients and help you get ready for the next season. So if you've been with me, you'll know that I started this year talking about 3 big goals that I had for myself. And I shared with you this piece of information that I had read about how it helps you to achieve your goals by a factor of 9 if you write them down. I also used this quote, which I'm going to read to you, by Brendan Burchard to help me kind of shape my goals. And the reason I want to share this with you today is because I've really just been in an incredible 6 weeks of flow, and it just doesn't happen that often, and I really want to take a good look at it, see how you can replicate it for yourself, and of course replicate it for myself, because it's been a lot of fun. So Burchard says, choose an ambition and with full force expect that it is possible and that you can make it happen. Give constant attention and committed effort to your dreams, and your motivation will perpetuate itself. Demonstrate a positive attitude as you strive for great things, and take care to create a supportive environment around you that amplifies your motivation. Now, your ambition could be anything. For me, it was to finish my book proposal, to amplify my message, and to enroll amazing women. And I have to tell you, I've been able to do all of those things in the last 6 weeks, and it's really been such an exciting time. So when it comes to your ambitions, I sat and wrote these down before the Christmas holiday, and I really allowed myself the time and to doubt, to think about whether these were the things I wanted to achieve. And then when January hit, I knew, okay, now I know, yes, I definitely am all in. As he says, give constant attention and committed effort to your dreams, and your motivation will perpetuate itself. Now, I have to be honest with you, there were times with my book proposal especially where I really got bogged down in the weeds. And so that supportive environment that he talks about really helped to amplify my motivation. It really helped to get me back into the swing of things. So when I was reading the Tim Ferriss's article on marketing your book and how to create your book proposal, I started to get really heavy and really overwhelmed and stressed out. But I was able to check in with my mastermind group, and we had already set up a system of accountability. So I was able to write down what I had achieved that week, which was actually quite significant when I wrote it down, and also share my challenges. And they were able to lift me up and give me some suggestions. I also asked for help. I asked my personal network and here on this site, and also in my social media, I asked for help. I put out the message, I want to write my book. I want to get this goal achieved, and how can you help me? You know, do you know anyone in publishing? And that was a big risk. It was a bit scary for me to ask for help and say, you know, I'm working on this project. The other thing that I think is important about what he says is to choose an ambition that with full force expect that it is possible and that you can make it happen. So I did not commit to writing my book this year. I committed to writing my book proposal. So I've now finished the rough draft. Happy days. And then I have to think about what my next goals are. So with my next goal, which was to amplify my message, I had a radio interview with Hamda Mizrahi on Voice of America, came out on the same day as a Word Up feature on Planet Femme on 3 golden tips on your personal style. And in response to that video, I actually posted another video about the issue of perfectionism which I called Visibility Day and hashtag Not Perfect. And I definitely invite you to do your own anti-perfectionist rant. I really think that this is such an important issue for us as women, and it's holding us back. When I noticed the negative self-talk that I was inflicting upon myself, even as a professional style coach, the things that I was saying to myself, I really had to get real and get honest and share that with you, so that you know that we are all in this together, and we all need to lift this up and help each other in righting our boats from aiming for perfection to aiming for achieving our ambition. And interestingly enough, my third goal, which was to enroll amazing women, is also helping me to remember that. And one of the things that I did this spring, or for this season, it was to launch a masterclass based on my 6-month program that I do with private clients. I sold it out in 48 hours. I have 5 amazing women in this class, and 2 things that came out of their feedback. We just finished their first month, so I shared with them what flatters, and now we're into the second month and doing their translation, their color story, the cuts, the patterning, all of that information that comprises the translation of their style words and helping them to identify their personal style. So it's a lot of information right now, trying to integrate all that information. And the 2 things that came back to me in the feedback, number 1, was how powerful it was to be doing this with other women, and to realize that for each and every one of them, they weren't the only ones who did not know this stuff or who were struggling with it. So the way I've structured the class, we have the first half hour of the class is the general kind of content, and people can ask general questions. And I think this is so informative and helpful to everyone who's in the class to hear what each other's questions are. And then we go through in mini sessions speaking specifically about each person in the class and give them detailed feedback and talk about their detailed specific questions, which also helps. Like, for example, in the first month, there were 2 members of the class who weren't quite sure about the color palette that I had seen for them. And so I said, you know what, it's okay. I did this off of 1 photograph. It's entirely possible that it's not quite right. And even though I'm the expert, I am not requiring myself to be perfect. And so I said, send me a couple more pictures, do it in natural light, and we'll take a look at and make sure that I get this right for you. Because I respect each and every woman in my class. She's been the one looking at her face and her body for her entire life, and she knows a lot more than I do about her particular look. On the flip side, there is stuff that she doesn't know, and that's why she's in the class. So I think that piece about taking care to create a supportive environment is really key to amplifying your motivation, lifting it up, and perpetuating it. So it's, as I said, been a great period of flow for me. I have achieved great deal towards my own goals, and I want to invite you to, if you haven't yet, write me what your goals are, because as I said, it can increase the likelihood of your achievement by a factor of 9, which is amazing. So I just want to go back for a second and talk about that not perfect hashtag, and that's going to be a theme that's going to run through everything that I'm talking about this year. And the second thing that came out of the feedback from the class was this idea of giving a gift to yourself, that the class felt very much like something that they were doing just for themselves. And this is come out to me from my private clients too. And I really want to lift this up and celebrate this as well, because I think this is so, so, so important for all of you smart, sophisticated, capable women out there who have great ambition. It is important to take care of yourself. And as my class member said, this feels luxuriously selfish in a good way. So try and, if you're not already, carve out just an hour for yourself every week to do something that feels luxuriously selfish. It may be taking a class with me, it may be taking a bath or a body scrub, or something like having a phone call with a friend, something that feels luxuriously selfish in a good way. Speaking of which, I posted a blog last week about one of my favorite guilty pleasures, which is Olivia Pope and the TV show Scandal. One of the things I love about this show is that there's so many strong, capable, sophisticated women who are using their voices, whether it's for good or bad. And it's just a fun romp. And I was inspired by Olivia Pope's at home lounge style. So I put together the outfit for you. If you haven't taken a look, please do. I myself am ordering the pajamas that I posted. And of course, I'm going to be wearing them with my new Mojave slippers, which I love and fit my insole very well. Something that actually people talk to me a lot about is their foot problems and how they seem to feel like they're the only ones who have foot problems. Let me tell you, almost every single one of my clients has foot problems. And I myself just ordered 2 more insoles yesterday because I have had a heel injury for the past 6 months. So you are not alone. So speaking of winding down winter and kind of taking stock of our goals and what's next for us, I want to talk about, of course, your clothes. So maybe you upgraded your pajamas last week using my blog post feature. Take a look at what has been working for you this season. What have you worn to pieces? What didn't work? For example, for myself, I tried the voluminous sweater trend, and I asked my wonderful husband, what do you think of this after wearing it for a couple times and not feeling quite sure, loving it on, loving the feel of it on, but not being quite sure how it looks. And he said, well, I think it looks really comfy. And I probed a little further and I said, yeah, but how does it really look? And he said, well, it just makes you look kind of big. And, your size is your size. It is what it is. But we don't need to look bigger than we are. And so I thought, okay, that's kind of what I knew already. And, of course, I know that a voluminous sweater is not actually recommended for my body shape, but I wanted to try it. And guess what? It's going. So it's not going to go quite yet because winter is not over. And I am going to be picking up some nice new pieces next week when I travel home to Maryland with my kids to see my friends and my family. I have some lovely packages waiting for me from the online sale at Nordstrom's. So for my US readers and watchers, definitely take a look. They've amped up their sale. There was already stuff on sale, and now they're doing their midwinter sale right now. But this is true for all retailers. If you take a look at their online stock, they're getting rid of it. A lot of it is really reduced. So if there are things that you wore to pieces that you want to replace, do it now. There's no reason not to take advantage of the sale. You can put it away and wear it next season, and you will be really happy that you did. Because, of course, your personal style doesn't change the way the trends do. So even if you're taking advantage of a trend and getting something in that beautiful burgundy color that was so popular this year, you can certainly put that away and enjoy it again next year. If there's something that for you did not work, like my sweater, then you can replace it with something that has worked for you in the past. Or, for me, it's something a little bit more shapely. And not so bulky, and then I'll have that to look forward to as well. So one of the things also that I've been looking at a lot in terms of triggering flow is how to amp up your goals. So like I said, I finished my rough draft. Woohoo! I enrolled amazing women in my programs, and I've amplified my message with the radio interview and the article and the Planet Femme video. So you could say, well, then they weren't very good goals. You know, I've met them already, and it's only February 15th. So actually not. I want to read to you a quote by a gentleman named Stephen Kotler, who wrote the book, The Rise of Superman, which actually is a sort of misleading title because what he's talking about is triggering flow. And if you know anything about me, you know I do not believe in superwomen. None of us is perfect. We are all human, and we're all just trying to do the best we can, right? So how do we do that? How do we trigger flow? So for myself, you know, what am I going to do next? What's my next step for my book proposal? What's my next step to invite all of you amazing women, you know, into thinking about the power of personal style? What's my next step to enrolling amazing women in my programs? So he says, the general thinking in terms of how much to stretch is 4%. That's it. That's the sweet spot. If you want to trigger flow, the challenge should be 4% greater than the skills. In technical terms, the sweet spot is the end result of what's known as the Yerkes-Dodson law, the fact that increased stress leads to increased performance up to a certain intensity, beyond which performance levels off or declines. In real world terms, it's not much at all. So what we're really looking at is incremental increase, so 4%. So for my goal of my book proposal, I'm gonna polish my rough draft. That's my 4%. For increasing my amplification of my message, I'm going to polish my freemium, which is my 3 videos. I'm going to be doing a talk to a private club on the 7th of March. And I've invited my videographer to come and film it, the same one who did the virtual workshop. So it'll have that same intimate, wonderful atmosphere. And we're going to turn that into my 3 videos. The content is going to be a little different. I rewrote my talk. And so if you're not on my list, I definitely recommend getting on it now so you can get the old content, and then I will give you the new content when it's ready. So that's my 4% for amplification. In terms of enrolling amazing women, I actually don't need to do anything at all because my masterclass is up and running, and in that flash sale, I have 2 continuation clients. So clients who did my program with me before, who are ready to move on, take the next step, and apply all that they've learned to the next season of clothing. So they're going to be ramping up in the next month. And so that is my 4%. It's done. So you see, this is how we trigger flow, and it can apply to anything. Like, for example, some of you might be wondering about my dad. He had this fall in November, and I went back a couple times to see him, and I'm going to be seeing him in Maryland, and we're going to be celebrating his 91st birthday. And he's been doing great. So he had this fall, he was in the hospital, then he was in a nursing home, and now he has 24-hour care. Sounds terrible, right? But my dad has this incredible positive attitude. So when Burchard was talking about positive thinking and the idea that you can do it, you can make it happen. So when I left him in the nursing home and he was about to be transitioned home, he'd just gotten good news from his doctor and at his doctors, I should say, and he was about to be transitioned home. I said, so, you know, tell me how you feel. And he says, well, I'm a little overwhelmed by the transition, but I know I can do this. And, you know, that right there is the key. So he's been having, you know, constant checkups. He's a nurse care manager, and they have been continuing his motivation. He's been amping up, I guess, by 4% because he really is in flow, and he's doing so much better. So I'm so excited to see him up and walking around. He's got a new walker. He's out of bed in the morning and really working hard on making progress. So whatever it is that your dreams are, whatever your goals, let's try to figure out what's the ambition that you can achieve. And as you achieve things, start to amp it up by that 4%. So as we wrap up winter, taking a look at the pieces that worked, the pieces that didn't, amp up by 4% using the sale shopping. It applies to everything. So I'm super excited to get ready for spring, excited to go on holiday, and I hope for you that you get to carve out an hour of deliciously selfish time in a good way. And I will see you hopefully back here in time for spring. Take it easy and happy leap year.